Kia ora Star Wars fans, welcome to Middle Age Kiwi Man collecting Star Wars figures. Once again it's windy here, so I apologise for the wind noise. A big thank you to Stu from Universal Collector. He hosted me this morning New Zealand time, or Sunday night UK time, on his Star Wars trivia live stream. It was a hell of a lot of fun, so thank you Stu for having me, and thanks to the guys Matt, Scuba Pete and Jeff. It was a heck of a lot of fun to be on that Group F. If you want to know the result of that round, you better check out Stu's video. Anyway, in this video I am going to have a look at, open and review this AT-ST set from the Vintage Collection. You may have seen in one of my social medias, I picked this up a couple weekends ago. It's still sealed, and I'm going to open up, have a look at the other AT-ST drivers we've had in the line. Alright, and before we open this bad boy up, let's take a look at the packaging, and it's that classic, as we come to expect, the Vintage Collection packaging with that lovely racing track around the side of it. And it's got a few languages on there. I'm not sure if that's standard for this or not. I'll have to have a look it up. Really cool image there, nice diorama of the Endor forest floor. That looks really, really good. Somebody took their time to make that. Some more stuff on the side. I think it's just more languages. And then, whoa, we are bombarded here with different languages and telling you what's in there, although it's quite obvious because of the box. And then it just shows you the little Ewok pack as well. More languages. That's about it. It's basically all about this front, which looks really, really nice. So, and the good thing about this, it doesn't have a window, so you can open it up but still display the box. Okay, so like I said, it is still mint and sealed. You can see the tape there. So we're going to get out that little knife. Slide that out, and looks like that. A lot of wasted empty space there. Alright, there's the contents of the box. A little bit before Hasbro nailed plastic free packaging, they come in these little baggies. Alright, and there are the figures out of the packaging, and you can see that they each come with a removable helmet and one of these smaller style E11 blasters, which is of the era. Now, one of the first things to notice is the harness, which is actually the seatbelt for the AT-ST, so they shouldn't have that. So that's a bit of an error, but then thanks to Dean from the SW, so the Star Wars TVC Rebels Facebook group, because he asked me when I posted this, he said, do yours come with these holsters? And I can confirm, Dean, they do not come with the holsters as seen on the packaging. And let's just bring these in and have a look at the head sculpts. Pretty sure that's the Richard Marquand one, who's the director of Return of the Jedi. That one actually looks a little bit like Quentin Tarantino. Anyway, if I bring them in, nice likenesses, very good paint job for the time, but then you just put the helmet on, you can't see it. Again, as I said, comes with this seatbelt arrangement, which they definitely wouldn't be wearing outside of the AT-ST. It reminds me of the Beastie Boys Sabotage video, great song. Let's have a look at the articulation. So it's just a standard on a ball joint, the head. Notice that mid torso crunch is kind of hidden by the seatbelt, maybe that's why they did it. Nice ball and socket in the arm. Elbow articulation is a bit less than 90 degrees, and then it just has a swivel at the glove instead of any hand articulation. That kind of makes sense for these guys because they've got big gloves, and then we've just got swivels at the hips, which means they can sit in the AT-ST well, but we've got better articulation now. And then the knee is not quite 90 as well, and then just a up and down hinge and a swivel at the ankle. That's it, but that's really all the AT-ST driver needs in terms of articulation. We don't need like absolutely everything. It does its job. It's going to sit in the AT-ST quite nicely. Alright, and I think the AT-ST is a really interesting character, and one that's, you know, been quite ubiquitous throughout the line, which is good because you also see a whole pile of them in the Emperor's Arrival scene on the Death Star, so it's a good design to have. I'm going to start here. This is the original Kenner vintage AT-ST driver. And just like to shout out to my buddy Andrew, my best buddy, who gave me all of his childhood Star Wars figures. This is actually his, and it's in pretty good condition considering it was played with, and yeah, it's actually a good rendition. And unlike the modern one, they have not included the seatbelt, which is quite nice. Then we get the Power of the Force 2 one, so this is my first AT-ST driver, and again the helmet's sculpted on just like the Kenner one. He's of sort of buff proportions and 5 POA, but again sort of as a background character. Oh, that one's got a bit of a stain on the back of him, so that's not my one. This is one I've obviously picked up in a lot, but that's a pretty decent figure as well. He looks pretty good there. And then this oddball, and gosh, look at his eyes, they're terribly painted, and the helmet's looks like it's glued on but kind of wonky. And I believe this one was available in a couple of the like battle pack sets, so I got one of these from a set which had a Death Star commander, it had a mouse droid, an interrogation droid, a whole bunch of guns. I think that's possibly where he came from, and I believe they're also in like Endor sets and Hoth sets battle packs, which I've never had, so that's all good. This one here is the one that came with the Black Series 3.75 inch AT-ST. So if you take the helmet off, it is just, well, it is basically this guy from the pack we just opened, with actually a slightly worse paint job. This is the one from the 2-pack. So there we go, and the only other version I've got is the Vintage Collection one that came in the Lucasfilm 50th anniversary line, and I've got a carded one, so I'll show you that in a second. Basically, that whole set of 6, only 5 of them were available in New Zealand, so I had to buy this one overseas from eBay, which is why I only bought one. I think I've got enough loose AT-ST drivers. Alright, and there behind that lineup is that beautiful Vintage Collection card based on the old Kenner card. I love this image. I think it looks outstanding. It's one of my favourite ones in the Vintage Collection. Very nostalgic, even though I didn't have a lot of Kenner vintage figures. I only had the one. I do remember seeing that as a kid in stores. And now of course I've got this box here, which I slightly tore the top off, but that looks cool. It's going to display nicely. And then I reckon if you're going to get super duper technical about it, and why not, I'm going to be super duper technical. Technically, he's also a Vintage Collection AT-ST driver. So there you go, there's a lineup of all the AT-ST driver figures that I have, and the Vintage Collection in-box ones for my display. If you've made it this far, thank you so much for watching. I'm middle-aged Kiwi man collecting Star Wars figures. Ka kite, and I'll see you on another video.